Anything you'd like to say?
I think these were very nice questions.
Cool.
My name's Volker Gast, and I'm a linguist. I'm an English linguist. I work at the University of Jena, and my main interest is in typology and in semantics. I'm currently doing, or I'm investing some time into lexical typology from an aerial perspective. So the question is what kind of, what patterns you find in ways of describing specific objects, for example, a tree or a wood or fire. And we're using linguistic databases, which allows us to do more or less quantitative studies. I'm doing this with Masha Kopczewska-Tam from Stockholm. I mean, this is one of my projects, but it's one of my favorite projects. And the main purpose of this work is to figure out how language is borrowed, or how patterns in language are borrowed between speech communities or within bilingual speakers. We're really just doing this because it's interesting, and it's I think it's an aspect of linguistic variation that's understudied. But we're both very busy, so I'm afraid we'll do a few papers and probably no book project. Well, the book series is comparatively generic, so we have no specific focus except that we try to include, of course, topics of current interest, ideally with some interdisciplinary connection, but actually the range of topics really covered by the series is pretty broad. What's important, I think, is generally speaking that we keep the format of edited volumes, because I find it extremely useful. They have a specific thematic focus, unlike journals, and of course we have to make sure that the quality is good. So quality control is a very important part of our work here. And then I do think that it's good to have these more or less generic series, because there's a lot of very interesting work that doesn't fit into any specific series. For example, we have some projects on Finnic languages, or a lot of stuff on Slavic languages, and then sometimes it's hard for these authors to find an appropriate series to get their work published and to reach a broad audience. Again, that's a very fundamental question, and I think that we linguists tend to underestimate the importance of our own work. I think there's a lot of intellectual exercise in what we do, which I think we should actually try to avoid, because linguistics is incredibly important. It is. Noam Chomsky once said in an interview with Ali G that it basically defines human beings. I think this is too strong a statement, but still human language is almost unique, probably, to the human species, and it interacts with various other levels of behavior. I think there are many interfaces to other fields, and this is something that we linguists should be aware of, and that we should try to get better at interacting with other fields and making our results relevant to other fields, because again, language is really at the core of human behavior, and I think it can be incredibly important for basically anything from psychology to genetics and evolutionary studies and many other things. Yes, I do, because I'm working on a Papuan language. I'm involved in a fieldwork project. The language is called Idi, and I like it because I'm one of very few non-native speakers who know this language a bit, and I'm working on it. Plus, it's a very beautiful language in terms of morphology and phonology specifically.
How many people speak that language apart from you?
I think there are estimates of approximately 1,000. The language where I work, Sibidiri, in the village itself, there are like 300 speakers, but I think there are 2 or 3 other villages, altogether summing up to 1,000 speakers.